Close-Up is brought to you by the Kia Sorento R, redefining the power of Kia.
Anyone who spends any time at the petrol station knows the cost of the old fuel these days, well over $2 a litre. And many of us madly collect those, those supermarket vouchers to get a couple of extra cents a litre off the bill as well. But think about this. What if you could slash your fuel bill by 95% and still travel the same distance? We're talking 100 kilometres for $1. Well, we have found a man who is doing just that, using electricity, solar panels and our hot sun. Here's Matt Chisholm.
When they're training helicopter pilots, the bloody helicopter flies over the house, waka, 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 and I'm sure they make the rotors go just till I get inside your head the worst possible amount,
Peter Sewell's a character. An electrical engineer come boat builder who's clever, good with his hands and endearingly honest. And the credit crunch, I take it, didn't do your boat building business any favours?
No, that doesn't do them any favours, eh? So that's partly why the cars have come along. Somebody's got to make fashion. Might as well be me.
Yep, Pete's also a visionary.
I'm one of those persons that looks a bit into the distance,
But trendsetter, well, that remains to be seen. However, the numbers stack up. Just imagine, filling up for a $5.
We're looking at about $1 per 100 Ks, I think, for the Toyota. There's actually not many people in the country running a car on solar power. I think there may be only 4 or 5.
If there are 4 or 5 of you and 4.4 million, you are 1 in a million.
1 in a million, that's right, it is 1 in a million. I could drive across to Devonport for a coffee, What's that, about 60 Ks from here? I drive all the way across to see my friend in Devonport and have a coffee. We go and buy a coffee, and I buy the coffee, so I think, shit, I've spent more on bloody coffees than I have on fuel.
3 years ago, when Pete wasn't up to much on the boats, he gave his 1995 Toyota Celica a complete overhaul. It's very quiet. Do you lose a bit of grunt?
We got the same power. It just feels like the same as if you were driving it with an original 2-litre engine in it.
What's involved in converting a petrol car to electric?
We need to pull the petrol engine and all the related stuff out, remove the gas tank, and we replace that with an electric motor and put some batteries in the back.
The job spanned over 6 months, but actually involved only 3 weeks of Pete's labour. So what does this machine owe you now?
Including buying the car, about just under $30,000. It's just under $30,000. So it's, yeah, and that's including buying the car, which was chosen to be, about $5,500. So it's probably $30,000 plus 3 weeks worth of labour.
What would that be?
Oh, it depends how much I like the person, I guess.
Once the rubber was hitting the road, Pete threw some solar panels up on top of the garage.
We're talking about 25,000 Ks I can do every year just from the power generated on my roof.
And now, while the rest of us work hard to pay for our fuel, he's kicking back.
We're putting power in the car right now, Look, we've got good sunshine. For about 6,000, I've got 25,000 Ks a year, and next year, and next year, and next year. I never used to be really into cars, but, making your own fuel, installed all the electrical system in the car, it's 36,000 Ks, and I still really enjoy going for a drive.
And why wouldn't he? No longer having to worry about the ever-increasing price we pay at the pump.
My gas station's everywhere. Every house has got a power point for me to charge up with.
Or even how much oil the planet might have left.
All the oil's in really hard to get places where it's really expensive. It ain't going to be cheap again.
And not only is this renewable energy fuelling his vehicles, Pete converted the ute this year, it's also covering the dreaded power bill.
In the middle of winter I paid $20.
And in summer they owe you?
Oh, in the summer I might get a credit, yes, so that's quite good. I've got a decent range, 200 Ks on a charge, so that's quite a way. Not many people drive more than 200 Ks on one trip.
And if you do, you take your charger with you?
If I do, I take the charger with me. If I want to drive to Coromandel, 185 Ks, I take the charger with me and I plug in when I get there.
How do you pay for that?
I usually carry a stack of coins in the little coin holder down there. Hey, 5-cent pieces is the way to go, eh?
And they accept that?
Most of the time, some of my mates chuck it back in the car. If you feel around under the seat there, you might be able to get a couple of bucks.
For Pete, this is a no-brainer. It's good for the wallet and the environment. And naturally, he'd like to see more of us coming along for the ride. He even wants to produce electric cars on a large scale.
If every house in the country had solar panels on the roof and the second car was electric, If the amount of money that we would be saving on going overseas in foreign oil, can you imagine what our universities would be like, our schools, our hospitals? Wouldn't that be an amazing place to live?
Yes, it probably would be, but there is the initial outlay to consider, and that thing called fashion. For those that might think it's a bit nerdy, not very, fashionable.
Somebody's got to make fashion. Every time I see somebody else going for a drive in the car and they have a big smile on their face, I'm thinking, well, that'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Now, if you want to learn more about electric vehicles and solar power technologies, you need to head along to the Smart Energy Expo being held at Wellington's Town Hall Auditorium tomorrow.